Forgot about that. All right, guys, so we're back. Right, so we say here, price and quantity demanded have an inverse relationship, whereby as one goes up, the other goes down, right? So here we have the arrow showing you price going up and quantity demanded going down, because we established already that consumers would buy more at a lower price and they would buy less at a higher price, right? Moving down. And here we have now, guys, our demand curve. The demand curve is in red. You're seeing it sloping downward from left to right. Good. And the reason for that, the reason why that curve is sloped like that is because as price falls, you see the arrow showing your price falling. The original price is PA. At the price of PA, you take it across until you touch your demand curve. You're touching your demand curve at point A, around here. Good. You come straight down to your quantity axis, and that will be the amount that people are demanding at that price. Now the price fell from PA to PB. Good. That will cause people to demand more. Okay, we will fall at a new point on the demand curve, which will take us to QB, right? Now, what this shows you is that the diagram shows the relationship between price and quantity demanded. As a result, as price falls from PA to PB, I showed you all that there, it causes an extension, and I want you to note this word here, an extension in quantity demanded, which results in a movement from point A on the demand curve, to point B along the demand curve. Now, what type of movement is that? It is a downward movement. So when price falls, it causes a downward movement along your demand curve. Right. Alicia, you're following? Alicia, not listening. Dominique, are you following? Good.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. All right, guys, so we're going on again. If anybody is confused at any time, remember you can interject, ask a question, and we will slow down. If I'm going too fast, please let me know, right?
Sorry, so I'm late, but which handout we're doing again?
It's not a handout. You have to follow on the screen.
Oh, okay.
This will be uploaded on the Google Drive later.
Okay. So it's okay, you can write it down, right?
You can, yes. All right. So we're moving on, guys. So we just talked about what will be the effect of a fall in price. And we're seeing the effect of a fall in price on quantity demanded. When price falls, it causes an extension in quantity demanded. It means people are going to buy more. Now we're going to look at what happens when price rises. So, diagram showing an upward movement along the demand curve, which is caused by a rise in price. So you're looking at your demand curve here again, and you're seeing it sloping downward from left to right. The demand curve is labeled DD, right? The price, the original price is P1. And it rises from P1 to P2. Good? What that does is that when the price rises from P1 to P2, quantity demanded contracts from Q1 to Q2. Okay? Originally, at the price P1, you are on point A of your demand curve. Point A is here. When the price rises from P1 to P2, it takes you to point B on your demand curve. Good? So as a result, when the price rises, it causes an upward movement along your demand curve. You're moving from point A to point B at the newer price. There's a special note I want you all to follow here. Note, price is the only factor of demand that causes a movement along the demand curve. So there are other factors that will influence demand, right? Now we need to be mindful of that. There are many other factors that will influence demand. But price is the only factor that causes a movement along the demand curve. All right. Now, remember, guys, we're using, well, we're on the WhatsApp group as well. So in tandem to what we have on the screen here, you guys can always WhatsApp me on the group chat if you're having any issues as well, and we will respond. So far, we've looked at what is demand. We've looked at the effect of a rise in price on quantity demanded, and we've looked at the effect of a fall in price on quantity demanded. So now, before we go any further, I have some questions for some people. All right. So let me call upon Saravana. What is the effect of a rise in price on quantity demanded?
The demand by consumers will go down.
Right. So the word we're looking for is quantity demanded will contract. Means that people will buy less. Right? Very good. Very good. Nathan, what is the effect of a fall in price on quantity demanded? Nathan, you need to turn off your video as well because nobody else is on video.
My video off though.
It's off?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good. Tell me.
What's the question, sir?
Right. So what is the effect of a fall in price on quantity demanded?
So I know Richard now.
Oh, you're now coming in.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Anybody willing to take a shot? Vikash, I've seen you been here a while. Miguel, you wanted to answer it?
So customers will the consumers will want to buy more.
They want to buy more because it has gotten cheaper. They feel that they're getting a bargain. They feel that they're getting more value for their money. So they will want to buy more. All right. So is everybody okay so far? And if anybody is confused, let me know. You have any questions that you want us to go over, because I know the diagrams can be a bit confusing if you're just looking at it. And we will organize. We will explain it back for you guys. So let me know quickly. You can text me on the group chat. You can respond here as well. Let me know if you confused about anything before we proceed. If not, we will proceed. Okay, good. So we said price is the only factor that causes a movement along your demand curve. It can be an upward movement, it can be a downward movement, depending on if it's a rise in price or a fall in price. Now, factors influencing demand. First factor is income. The higher your income, the greater your level of demand, and vice versa. Now, what that means is, if you're working for a certain amount of money, and for some reason, you get an increase in salary, that leaves you with more money to either spend or to save. Now, you can do both, spend some, save some, but you will have more money. Now, what would be the effect of that more money on demand? Right? Let's look at it. So as your income rises, it leaves you with more money to spend or save. When you spend more, you must remember that the price of the item does not change. Remember, what has gone up is your income. That had no effect on the price of the item. And on the price of the item, the company that's making the item and selling it, they're still selling for the same price. What has changed is your income, the amount that you have to spend. So when your income increases, the price does not increase. The price stays the same. It's just that you are able to buy more. How are we going to show that? We have to leave price, unchanged. So price remains at P1. Everybody seeing that on the diagram here, right? But because you have more income, you're able to demand more. So originally at P1, you are buying Q1 in quantity. Now that you have an increase in salary and your income has increased, you're demanding more of the product. That will take you to Q2, right? To show that, we simply have to shift the demand curve outward from DD, which is in black, to D1, which I labeled in blue. Okay? So when you spend more, you must remember that the price of the item does not change, but yet you are buying more. To show this, the demand curve will shift outward. An outward shift of the demand curve, guys, indicates to you that you are now demanding more. And I want you all to remember that. An outward shift of the demand curve indicates that you are now demanding more of this product. Okay? We're going to look at quality of goods. Quality of goods. Now, I must tell you before we go any further, now if your income increases, this one here shows you that if your income is higher, then you will demand more, right? So your curve will shift outward. Supposing your income fell. Think about that. If your income fell, so instead of income increasing, your income fell. What will be the effect on quantity demanded?
It will go down.
Your income will, you will buy less, right? Now,
Yeah.
how will we show that on the demand curve?
Q2 would go down, sir.
Right? Q2 will go down to Q1, but you will have to shift your demand curve inward. That's what you have to get. You following, Miguel?
Yes, sir.
Right. So guys, let's say the original price was, well, P1. The diagram is not up, but we're speaking hypothetically here, and I want you to vision it. Your original demand curve is D1. Good? Original demand curve. For some reason, your income now has fallen. Right? You all know with this global pandemic has taken place. Some people are not working, right? Company businesses have closed, so people are home, they're not getting paid. So their income have fallen. So when your income falls now, it will cause you to demand less. The price of the product does not change. What has changed is your ability to buy. So how will you show that you're now demanding less? Your demand curve will have to shift inward from D1 to D. It will have to go this way, right? So I want you all to understand that, because when I see you guys, we're going to talk about this. I'll ask you to draw the diagram for me. Quality of goods. If goods are of a high quality, then people will demand more. Do you all believe that's true? So let's say a company introduces a product and they improved on the quality of the product. So people are going to continue buying the same amount, but because the quality has gotten better, they're going to be demanding more of the product. And because they're demanding more of the product, remember the price of the product did not change. What changed was the quality. That means people are going to be buying more. They're going to be demanding more, right? And that will mean that your demand curve will shift outwards, right? Advertisements. Effective advertising will influence consumers to buy more. That's the whole point of advertising. We did that. We did that on the marketing, right? And we know when you advertise, you're trying to convince, you're trying to persuade the consumer that, hey, my product is better. Come and try my product. Come and buy my product. Okay? And effective, and some advertisements are effective, some are not. An effective advertising campaign will influence a consumer to buy more. When you advertise, your demand curve for your product is supposed to shift outward. When you advertise, you're not changing the price of the product. Always bear that in mind. What you are changing, what you're influencing is people's spending pattern. You're influencing, you're convincing them, you're persuading them that, hey, come and buy my product. Okay. Another factor influencing demand is taste, style, and fashion. As you all know, when something is in fashion, everybody wants it. Give me an example.
Shoes.
Shoes. What type of shoes in style right now that everybody wants?
Nike.
Nike? Yeah, I think Nike was always in style. Is there anything that came out recently?
How about Adidas, I guess?
Adidas?
Easy, sir. Easy.
Oh, the Yeezys. Okay. So that's a huge selling product right now. So
Yeah.
it's in fashion, right? And because it's fashionable, people are going to be demanding more. If it goes out of style, however, will anybody want to buy it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
depends. Yeah,
So you will buy
Because you
something.
couldn't afford it all the time.
Say that
because
again.
it could be in style.
Because you couldn't afford it all the time.
So you buy it when it goes out of style.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I can see that point. But the thing is, Miguel, you have to understand, will everybody buy it when it goes out of style?
No, sir.
No. And that will cause the demand curve to
Nope.
shift inwards. All right? You guys with me? Right?
Yes.
A perfect example I like to draw the attention while I see some ladies wearing it now is long ago. Guys, remember there was a bell-bottom pants in the 70s? Where
Yep.
it would be skinny at the legs and wide at the ankle.
Yeah, which makes no sense, yeah.
But would you be caught wearing that today?
Probably for fruit, but no.
Probably if you're going into a back 70s party or something, yeah, like that, yeah. But in the 70s, that was the style. Understand? That was fashion, and you'll find it strange, but I think it will make a comeback because skinny jeans were the 80s, the rock style in the 80s, and now skinny jeans they have made a comeback, right? And after the skinny jeans phase, we went on to the baggy style jeans phase. You know, real baggy. So your waist is probably a 30, but you're wearing on a 42 size pants. So you look like you're drunk in the pants. That was the 90s phase. And then eventually in the last decade, skinny jeans made a huge comeback. Right? So everybody good so far? Guys. Then we're looking at seasons. Now, how can seasons cause your demand curve to shift? At various times in the year, more of a particular good is demanded. Seasons. Different times of the year, more of a product will be demanded. Give me an example, somebody.
So that's like winter gear.
Like winter gear. Well, we don't have winter in Trinidad, but I guess if you're living in America, you will only demand winter gear when?
During winter.
During winter.
So ham around Christmas time.
Like ham around Christmas. Yeah, like ham around Christmas time. But the winter gear is an excellent point as well. If you're living in a cold country, then you only demand winter gear around that time when it's cold. The strange thing is I've seen some Trinidadians wearing winter gear at the malls in Trinidad, which is amazing to me. Right? But as Miguel also said, ham around Christmas time. That's a Christmas tradition. Not so, Miguel. So at various times in the year, more particular good. So seasons, right? Think around festival times. So Miguel brought the example of Christmas, but around Diwali time. Remember, a lot of Hindus in this country, they fast around that time, not so. So they consume less what? Meat. So during those months, the demand curve for meat, like chicken, especially chicken and fish, is going to shift inwards, right? Not a great shift, but it will shift inwards because a lot of Hindus are fast in our country. You all know we have a multicultural society, right? So during whenever they announce that Diwali will be in October, November, Hindus start fasting usually a month before. So during that time, the demand for meat products is going to fall. All right. The price of the meat product doesn't change, but it's just that people are fasting, right? The price of, oh, sorry, I missed out one here. Government policy. And government policy has to do with taxes and subsidies, which we talked about. Now, how does a tax influence your buying, your demanding of a product? Think about it. When they place a tax on you, what effect does it have on your income? It reduces your income. If, let's say, they increase income tax on you, does that leave you with more income to spend or less income to spend?
Less income.
It leaves you with less income, rightfully said. So if it leaves you with less income, then by extension, you will now be able to demand less because you have less money. Okay? If for some reason the government says, okay, we see this product as a necessity for the survival of people in Trinidad and Tobago. So because of that, the government is going to implement a subsidy on this product. So they're going to make it cheaper for you to consume. If that is the case and the price of the product goes down, you will now be able to buy more of the product. Okay? So government policy also influences your demand, right? The price of substitutes and complements. Now, this is a big one. So we needed to actually break it down because I need people to understand what we mean by substitutes and what we mean by complements. Okay? We'll deal with substitutes first. So I have the example. I love this example. Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Now there are other examples, guys. There are other examples of substitutes that we can talk about, right? But the more typical one that you all are famous with is Pepsi and Coke. A substitute good is one which can be used in place of another. What that means is if you're custom buying a product, but for some reason you can't find the product, you can't get the product, then you will look for the next best alternative. The next best alternative is the closest substitute you can find. So let's say for some reason you can't get Coke, then the best option is Pepsi. Yes? And all those who tell me that they don't drink Pepsi, then clearly you have never been to KFC. Because when you buy KFC, all you get is Pepsi.
The red thing.
You mean the slice? The flavor, right? All right, good. I've given you guys a minute here. Take a minute and come up with another example of a substitute. All right?
Right, 7-Up.
Oh, you said anything? Did you you're in coming from Coleman, but I know I'm right now. Call him and see if they finish it. He told me he was gonna talk Coleman, talk to me, Coleman. Oh no, I know you don't, I can't tell you. I gotta call them. Oh. No. Yeah. People, tell me what it happened. Miguel. I know you like to volunteer a lot. Another example.
Down empty, sir.
Morigin. Who's Morigin, boy?
So that's Mamadou.
That's Mamadou.
Oh, Mamadou. Change your name now, boy. Mamadou, tell me. Another substitute. We have Pepsi and we have Coke. Two goods that are substitutes. If you can't find one, you will buy the other. Tell me. Right. So Mamadou is thinking. Musa. The Sunny Water and which other one? Oasis. All right. Okay. So which one is your preference? The Sunny.
So what about Fashion Orchard?
Fresh and Orchard. Well, that's a good substitute, Fresh and Orchard. So which one do you prefer? Which one is your normal go-to product?
Fresh.
Fresh. And if you can't get the fresh, then you buy the Orchard.
Yes, sir.
All right, nice. I like that example. I like the example. In terms of food, fast food, substitutes. If you can't find one, you buy the other.
Sir, I want, sir. I want, sir.
All right, so let's hear Miguel first, one at a time. Miguel, let me hear you.
If I go by the doubles, man, and you see out of doubles, I buy a pie.
All right, guys, so we'll take that. We'll take that, right? Thanks. So let's examine what are substitutes. A substitute good is one which can be used in place of another. For example, if you can't get Coca-Cola, then you will buy
Pepsi.
Pepsi. When the price of a substitute good rises beyond what a consumer is willing to spend, right, on the good, then you will look for the next best alternative product. And in this case here, it will be Pepsi. So if you look at my diagrams here, let's go to the diagrams here. You're seeing we have Coca-Cola on one side and we have Pepsi on the other side. Now I want you to observe something. Something is happening with the Coca-Cola diagram. What's happening with the Coca-Cola diagram is the price is going up for Coke from P1 to P2. Everybody seeing that? Now, what effect will that have on quantity? They're going to demand, consumers are going to be demanding less Coke. Now, people will argue that Coke is addictive and consumers are loyal and so on, and they will continue buying. I understand that, right? But what you need to bear in mind is that there are some consumers who are very price sensitive. And I'm talking about those consumers. If your market is made up of highly price sensitive consumers and you raise your price, then a lot of them will simply stop buying and they will go and look for something else. You guys with me so far? So the price of Coke has gone up, causing people to demand less Coke. They're not going to stop buying Coke altogether, you know, but some people are going to demand less Coke, right? So there's going to be a contraction in quantity demanded of Coke, which will be a movement from Q. They're going to move from Q1 to Q2. Okay. Now let's look at the price of Pepsi. Did the price of Pepsi change, guys? The price of Pepsi remained the same. All right. And because the price of Pepsi remained the same, consumers are now going to move from buying they're going to buy less Coke and more Pepsi. Let's see here. Suppose the price of Coca-Cola rises from P1 to P2 because one of the inputs rises. One of your raw material cost rises when you're producing Coke. It went up, so you had to charge people a higher price. This would cause people to consume less Coca-Cola, decreasing the quantity sold from Q1 to Q2. For the substitute good Pepsi, the demand curve would shift out for all price levels from D to D1, leading to more Pepsi being consumed. Now, more Pepsi is being demanded, but the price of Pepsi is not changing. What effect will that have on Pepsi is that the demand curve for Pepsi will have to shift from D to D1. You guys with me so far? Bala, following?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Anybody confused by that?
No, sir.
Excellent. I know we touched on these things already, but I'm going a little more in depth into it because I feel we need to understand it a bit more. Right. Kevin, you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. All right, so we can move on to complementary goods now, guys. So a complementary good or service is an item used in conjunction with another good or service. The joint demand nature of complementary goods causes an interplay between the consumer need for the second product as the price of the first product fluctuates. Let's examine what we're saying there. What you need to understand is complementary goods go hand in hand. They go together. You can't have one without the other. All right. So once you decide to buy one, then automatically you have to buy the other, right? So now what do I mean by that? I like to use the example of cars and petrol. If you bought the car, then automatically, unless it's a hybrid and fully electronic and so on, you have to buy gas to put in the car, right? Because you're not going to buy a car and have to push it everywhere you're going. That wouldn't work out. That's not smart. So you buy the car, good complement for the car would be the gas, right? Automatically, if you buy a car, you're going to be demanding more fuel. Make sense? For example, should the price of hot dogs, and I'm going to do a simple one. I know we're thinking about food all the time. Should the price of hot dogs increase, it can cause a decrease in demand for hot dog buns. Now, I don't know about you, but I like the hot dog bread. If I eat a hot dog, I want the bread to go with it. Not so. I wouldn't go and buy hot dogs in the grocery and not buy the hot dog bun and go and buy a sandwich loaf bread, right? I would look for, my first option would be the hot dog bun. So automatically, what we're saying is once you buy the hot dog sausage, then you're going to be demanding the hot dog buns, the bread, right? Since the cost of the hot dogs has an inverse relationship with demand for hot dog buns, they are considered complementary products. What that means is if the price of hot dogs goes up, the inverse relationship we're talking about here means that if the price of hot dogs goes up, then people are going to be demanding less hot dog buns. Does that make sense? Anybody and everybody following so far?
As you guys can see, today I'm joined with a very, very special guest. Charlie. Probably didn't really know. Thank you.
Somebody has their mic up and you need to
So
mute it.
excited we are finally getting to know. As you guys can see today.
Hawa,
Yes, sir.
why is your mic on?
I don't know.
And what are you listening to?
Sir, James Charles was just playing.
All right.
You remember the boy/girl we showed you in class?
All right. So let's mute the mic and then we'll follow. All right. Good. For example, should the price of hot dogs increase, it will cause a decrease in demand for hot dog buns. I'm going over because we were interrupted by that. Since the cost of hot dogs has an inverse relationship with the demand for hot dog buns, the price of hot dogs goes up, people are going to be demanding less hot dogs. If they're buying less hot dog, then automatically they're going to be buying less hot dog buns. Consumers may substitute hamburgers for their picnic. A weak complementary mustard and ketchup products will also see little impact in the rising price of hot dog. Now, what I need you all to understand is they are what we consider to be strong complements, and they're also weak complements. The effect is there will be a stronger effect on the what we consider stronger complementary goods, right? The effect of a rise in price for the weak complements is not really significant. So I have an example. If you're looking at my chart here, you will see weak complements, tea and milk. The price of tea goes up. Yeah, people will be demanding a bit less milk, but not any significant fall in quantity demand of milk just because the price of tea went up. Because as you all know, not everybody takes their tea with milk, right? So that's an example of a weak complement. The price of a strong complement is Android phones. Well, I wanted to put Apple phones and apps, right? When you buy an Apple phone, don't you have to pay for the apps? Guys?
Yes.
We had a
Not
long
all the time, sir.
We had a long discussion in class and you all told me Apple phones are superior, which I don't see, but all right. Why would I buy a phone and have to go and pay for the app that I want on the phone as well?
No, sir. You don't have to pay for every app, but
Tell me.
you have to pay for some apps. It's the same like on Androids
But sir, sometimes you can cheat.
and get them for free. That's why people like Androids more.
That's
Yeah,
not true.
so-
People like iPhones
So you
more.
have to pay. Only thing I have to pay for like for an iPhone, so it's like iTunes, and that's like download music
Yeah.
and things. From
Yes, sir. That's it.
So that's the only thing you guys pay for, but there are other, I know there are other apps that you have to pay for, not so?
Yeah. But
Not
it's just
really.
it's just like that on every phone.
Oh, okay.
You only
Alright.
have to pay for music.
The only thing with iPhone, so why people might want it, it's too secure now. Like if it's a real private person, right, then the iPhone is for you.
Okay. All right, I hear you. So, and again, it's a strong compliment, right? So if the price of the Android, you're buying more phones, you're buying Apple, you're demanding Apple phones, the price of the Apple phone goes up, right? Then the demand for the apps is going to fall. Because if I'm not buying the phone, then I don't need the app. Make sense? Miguel?
Yes, sir.
Right. Note, when the factors influencing demand changes, it will result in the demand curve shifting either inward or outward. An outward shift in the demand curve shows an increase in demand, and vice versa. Opposite is also true. An inward shift in the demand curve shows a reduction in demand, right? So here we have now a diagram showing you shifts in your demand curve. From D1 to D3, everybody seeing D1 is in the middle there, right? There is an inward shift. If we are moving from D1, which is here, to D3, right? It's going to show you an inward shift. It's representing an inward shift in your demand curve, which means that you are demanding less. Okay? On the other hand, I have it highlighted in a bit of purple here. From D1 to D2, right? It represents an outward shift. And an outward shift indicates that we are now demanding more, right? Everybody following? So I have some questions now on demand. Before we go on to supply, I have some questions on demand. And we will start randomly here. Hannah, what is demand?
Demand is when you want back money, like when you consumer willing to like pay a particular price, and then like at one point of time they like want back it in time.
No, you don't want back the money. What we say, Hannah, is that it's a want. It's something that you want, but you're able to back it up by having money. All right. So I'm glad you answered. Good, nice, excellent. So you want something, but you're able to back it up. In the real world that we live in, you have to understand there are two types of demand. There's desired demand, and there is something called effective demand. Desired demand is like window shopping. You'll go and look at the item, you're craving it, but you can't afford it, so you can't buy it, right? You window shop. And the other one is effective demand. Effective demand means I see something, I want it, and I have the money in my wallet to actually pay and get the product, right? So demand is a want backed by money. When we're talking about demand in this case, we're talking about effective demand, right? It means that it's a want backed by money. We want something, we have the money to pay for it, all right? So, and we go a step further in that it is the amount the consumer is willing to pay. Because you, the consumer, if you find the price is high, the choice is yours, you know. If you find the price is too high for the product, then don't buy it. The choice is always up to you, right? If you find it's within your means and it's within your budget and you have the money, then you buy it, right? So it is the amount the consumer is willing to pay for a particular product at a particular point in time. So that first sentence there is extremely, extremely important, right? Tell me something. Can you guys, since I'm sharing my screen with you all, can you all, those who have access to a printer, can you all print this?
I don't know how to do that.
You know, okay. Well, it will be loaded. I spoke to Lyndon, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to send it to him after we finish class, and he's going to
Oh, if
upload
I
it.
do that,
I
then
already
yeah.
got a printer.
Right. So you printed it? Were you able to print it?
I could.
Well, we'll try. When we go on the break, try it. I'll leave it up, and we'll try it when we go on the break. Not now. So we don't want any interruptions. Right, Hawa? And you'll let us know when we come back if you're able to get through. So probably after class, I could leave it up for probably about a half an hour, and you guys can, those who have access to a printer can probably print it, or you can save it on your system. I think we could try that.
So
All right. So
so if you have if they're doing it on your laptop, they could screenshot it from the laptop, and they could go in their files and they could print it from there.
Okay, good. So that's another option we have. So when we go on the break, guys, I'll leave it up, right? I'll leave my screen up, and you guys can screenshot and use it from there, right? Thanks, JL. So we're going on again. I have another question. Let me call on somebody here. Let me see who else came on. I must commend you guys. We have 22 people attending. I mean, that's wonderful. Leandre, you with us? Kalim.
Yes, sir.
Right. Kalim, so we just explained what is demand, right? Now we want to find out what is the effect of a rise in price on quantity demanded. And to make life easier, just pull up the diagram here. What is the effect of a rise in price on quantity demanded? And anybody here feel free to jump in and help out Kalim. We don't want to leave Kalim stranded here alone. Come on.
So what is the effect of
a rise in price on quantity demanded? Kalim, don't tell me you're Googling it, you know?
Nah.
Oh.
Wait, you can Google it?
Well, you're home. If you have access, use it.
Oh, well, that.
But it's on the handout, Kalim, it's on the handout. That's what I want you to pay attention on. Shalanda.
So, you can repeat the question, please.
What is the effect of a rise in price on quantity demanded? You see the diagram I just highlighted there, JL?
Yeah. Hold on.
Miguel.
Yes, sir.
Tell me. You have an answer.
What's the question?
I don't want to proceed any. Let me tell you why we're taking a while in it. I don't want to go any further because I know these diagrams, when we're now seeing it for the first time, can be a bit intimidating. So I want to make sure we have a clear understanding before we go on and tie in supply with demand. I don't want to confuse you all. So we must understand demand first. What is the effect of a rise in price on quantity demanded?
Okay, well, the quantity demand, it will go down because people would want to buy it because the price gone up, rather than if it went down, it will go up as well.
Yeah, I have a clear understanding what you want to say. But the thing is this, and why you use the word, when the price rises, it causes a contraction. Contraction simply means they're buying less, right, Miguel? So everybody, when the price rises, it causes a contraction in quantity demanded. And when the price falls, it causes an extension in quantity demanded. I hope you all are taking notes as we talk, yeah? So you will have it, right? So let me just repeat that. As price rises, it causes a contraction in quantity demanded. And when price falls, it causes an extension in quantity demanded.
So the keywords are when you're answering the question is contraction and what
Extension.
else?
Extension.
Extension.
So
Okay.
remember that, huh? Rise in price, contraction in QD. Fall in price, extension in QD. QD is short for quantity demanded.
What was that again?
Rise in price will cause a contraction in quantity demanded, and a fall in price will cause an extension in quantity demanded. Good. Any questions, guys? Now, going back to our learning objectives here, we were able to explain demand and quantity demanded and the law of demand. Now, what is the law of demand? We talked about it, but I did not identify it as being the law. We talked about it a lot. Write this down. The law of demand states that as price rises, because I know you all won't write it down, that as price rises, quantity demanded decreases.
Say, repeat that, please.
As price rises, quantity demanded decreases. And in brackets, you will put the word contracts next to that. Right? Conversely, meaning the opposite, on the other hand, when price falls, quantity demanded increases.
That's called, oh, sorry. That's called an expansion, right?
And in brackets, extension. Good. Everybody got that? Regan, you got that?
Yes, I got that.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So we're moving on again, guys. Another question I have for you all, because I want to make sure we get a full understanding of this topic before we go any further. What type of relationship does price and quantity demanded have? If you had to use one word to describe the relationship shared between price and quantity demanded, what word would we use? Regan. Regan, are you there? Vikash,
Yes, sir.
what is the relationship? Tell me. One word.
Um, I
It's in the
don't
handout,
see
eh?
any handouts.
Well, it's in on not in your handout, but what we have on the screen. What we showing on the screen here. One word. There's only one word, Vikash, that tells you about the relationship between price and
Honestly, demand. No. Fine.
All right, take a minute, Vikash. When you have the answer, you can
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir,
Miguel.
they both involve products, sir.
No, but that's not the word. They both involve products. Remember, the price of the product goes up, quantity demanded product will fall. What's the
Money.
No.
I give up.
Bala.
I'm the logic. So,
Yeah.
doesn't it start with an S?
Nope.
Oh, well then.
It starts with E.
Are you guessing here or what?
No, I thought it was.
Extension.
Come on, man. Extension and contraction is the effect. This has to do with the relationship. The relationship. I can't stress on that word any further. Relationship. If you look at what I'm sharing on the screen with you, you will see what I'm talking about. Price and quantity demanded have a type of relationship. How would you describe that relationship?
It's an inverse relationship.
Who's that? Somebody said that.
Me, Sarvana.
All right, Sarah, nice. So it's an inverse relationship. Yes. Right? Price and quantity demanded have an inverse relationship. Excellent. Note these things, people, because make your jot-ins. As price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. If something becomes more expensive, you as a consumer will buy less of it, right? And likewise, when the price of something goes down, a rational consumer, rational is the key word we're using here, will buy more because they feel that they're getting more value for their money. So they will buy more. Their purchasing power is increased when price falls. Okay? So are we okay so far, guys? We good? All right. Nobody responded.
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going again. So I have another question here. We talked about the law of demand. We talked about the relationship, right? We're going to talk about factors influencing demand. I'm going to throw out certain scenarios here. We have the factors influencing demand. Remember, price is the only factor that causes a movement along your demand curve. All other factors influencing demand will cause the demand curve to shift either inward or outward. Let's clarify something. When your demand curve shifts outward, what is that telling you? When your demand curve shifts outward, what is that telling you? I'm seeing somebody named user. Who is that on the chat? Remember, I need you all to put up your name so I'll know who's on the chat, right? Who is this? And Mr. Linden will require that you put your names as well so we can take the role as to who is participating this morning in class. Hawa,
Yes, sir.
your demand curve shifts outward. What is that telling you?
The demand curve shifts outward. Hold on, let me think.
Think?
Hmm?
And that's not only for how everybody have an answer, an opportunity to give an answer here. So once you think you have an answer, feel free to share it.
Y'all can feel free.
Thanks, Howard.
You're welcome.
Your demand curve shifts outward, guys. What is that telling you?
An increase in demand.
Yes, it shows an increase in demand. Let me put it in a different color here, something that will stand out. You all see that there? An outward shift in the demand curve shows an increase in demand. It means that for some reason, you are now able to buy more. The price of the product did not change, but you are now able to buy more. We're going to look at those factors that will cause you to buy more. So as I said earlier, I'm going to throw out some scenarios here. And I'm going to call some people to tell me, right? Is it going to cause an outward shift? Or is it going to cause an inward shift? And why? So you need to be paying attention. You can't be doing other things while we're in class. You need to be paying attention to what we're talking about here. So let me repeat myself. We are on factors influencing demand. Good? We know that these factors can either cause your demand curve to shift outward, which Howard rightfully said results in an increase, represents an increase in demand, or it can cause your demand curve to shift inwards, which represents a decrease in demand. Okay? I'm going to give you a scenario, and you are going to tell me if it will cause an inward shift or if it will cause an outward shift of the demand curve. Right? And I'm going to be calling on certain people to answer. Right. Alicia, we'll start with you. Your income has increased. What effect will that have on your demand curve? You got a promotion. You're working for $1,000 a month.
It will rise.
It will?
It will rise.
I'm not hearing you too clearly. It will do what?
Demand will rise.
Not rise. Shift. The word is shift. Will it shift outward or will it shift inward?
Outward.
It will shift outward. Very good. Why will it shift outward, Alicia?
Because you're earning more money.
Because you're earning more money and you have the ability to buy more. Excellent. Thank you, Alicia. Well said. Right. As we know, guys, the world is facing a pandemic. Government has brought out certain measures that they have asked certain business establishments to close their doors. Employees are now home. People are not working, and you're not working, you're not going to get paid. All right? So your income level has fallen. When your income falls, Dominique, what effect will that have on your demand curve?
So it would shift inward because you wouldn't be able to buy as much. You'll be able to buy less.
Excellent. Excellent. Well said. On point. I love it. Very good, Dominique. Everybody good so far? Guys, anybody confused? You need clarity on anything, let me know. So we're going on to the second one now. And the second factor influencing demand is quality of goods. If the quality of goods has improved significantly, notice my words, the quality of the product has improved significantly. If it was good, it is now great, right? Reagan, what effect will that have on your demand curve?
Excuse me, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Can you repeat what you said just a second ago? All I heard was lag.
All you heard was?
Lag. I didn't hear you.
Oh, is the connection bad?
No, 5 bars.
Okay. All right. What we're saying is that quality of goods. The quality of the good has improved significantly. And we want to know what effect will that have on quantity demanded. Will it cause your demand curve to shift? Where will the shift be? Is it going to be outward or is it going to be inward? The quality of the product has improved, JL. It has become better.
Okay, all right.
So quality shift outward
Yes. Why? Why will it shift outward?
because the product got better.
Ah,
So
and that will make you want to buy
more.
More. Excellent. Can you all give me an example of a product like that? You found your product improved and you bought more because it got better. Any examples of that? No? Okay, well, I'll leave you all to get back to me on that one. Think about it. You all buy a lot of stuff. Right, we're going on to the third factor influencing demand, and that will be advertising. So we come out, we use a celebrity, we're trying to sell a new product here, and everybody, they love the advertisement. They found it very, very good. It makes you want to go out and buy the product. What effect will a good, effective advertising campaign have on the demand curve?
So it would shift outward.
It will shift outward.
How about examples?
All right, excellent, excellent, JL. Fantastic. And the opposite is also true. If the advertising campaign is poor and people find it offensive,
It'll shift inward.
it will shift inward, you know. And I have there's a perfect example of an offensive advertising campaign. A couple of years ago, I forget the name of the fashion house. They put a child in a hoodie, you know, sweater hoodie, and they put on it was the caption on the jersey was saying favorite best kid on the swings or something like that. I think that was a Gap product, and people found it very offensive because the child that they used is like, you know, you have a jungle gym, those bars there's chimpanzees that swing on and so on at the zoo, guys.
Yeah.
Right, and that was one of people found that campaign very, very offensive, right? And that caused Gap had a huge drop in sales until they had to come out with a public apology and apologize and so on for doing those things, right? Because they didn't really, I think genuinely they didn't think it through that, hey, this is not going to work. People may find this thing offensive. They had an idea and they just went with it. That's why, as I told you all, in business, you need to do proper research before you put out something. JL, you have a question? Yes.
You know, I have an example. It's have a new video game that came out Friday, right? And it's called Animal Crossing, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know about it, but tell me.
Okay, so let me tell you something. Everybody is hyping it up, and the advertising was amazing, blah blah blah, right? The games, it's about fishing and giving animals the fish and buying stuff and being in crippling debt. That's the game. Yeah.
It is really be seen by.
So it's a bad business game then.
That's why China stay too. What she does really be playing and watching, right?
That's a bad business game.
Yeah, but everybody bought it. Everybody, I know everybody.
Okay. All right, good. Thanks for that example. All right, guys. We're going on to the next one. Taste, style, and fashion. And we said earlier, think about something. Something has gone out of style. It's gone out of fashion, right? What effect will that have on your demand curve? I'm leaving it open. Miguel, you wanted to say something?
I'm thinking so.
All right, you're thinking. Floor is open, guys. Floor is open. Who wants to answer that one? Something that's going out of style, right? It wasn't style, it gone out of style. Now, what effect will that have on your demand curve? Will it shift inward or outward?
Inward.
Sir, it will shift downward.
Inward. It will shift inward. The word is inward, right?
Yeah,
Good.
inward. Yeah, my bad.
Excellent, excellent. We're going on again.
Because less people.
Bala, you were saying because less people, rightfully said, because less people will want to buy the product. It's going on the style. Seasons. It's Christmas time, right? You must have this product in your house. It's a must. Ham. What effect will Christmas time, that Christmas season, have on the demand curve for ham?
It'll shift
Straight outwards.
It will shift outward because a lot of people must have ham in their house. It's not Christmas without a ham in the house, right?
Yeah.
Or Christmas tree, for that matter.
Christmas tree. Lately, yeah, the Christmas tree phase has been catching on. Yeah, I can say that.
Yeah, but after Christmas, it'll shift inward.
After Christmas, it will shift inward because, yeah, and that's why we say it's seasonal. It's a seasonal thing.
But sir, people don't buy Christmas tree every Christmas. Just have it and put it away.
Well, true. Good point. What else? Another season besides Christmas. Another time of the year that things are in high demand. A product is in extreme. People buy throughout the year, you know. But
rum.
Time of year, people demand a lot of it.
Rum, alcohol.
Stay away from the rum. We're moving away from Christmas. Other times of the year.
During carnival, like
yes.
Yeah.
During carnival time, the demand for tickets.
The KFC.
The KFC?
During carnival time, yeah.
The bread.
Yeah, bread for sure.
That's a good example. Yeah, that's true, you know. You know, during carnival, that carnival weekend there, the weekend prior to carnival, Monday and Tuesday, the stores and the groceries and so on, bread shelves are empty.
Excuse me.
Question? Somebody has a question.
I have a question. Well, not a question. I have an example. This March, a lot of people have a high demand for toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
Right. Good example. And that is only because of the
coronavirus.
The coronavirus, yes. Right?
Coronavirus.
We're moving on, guys. Where are we now? So we took to that price of substitutes and complements, right? Price of substitutes and complements. So let's take two substitutes. If you can't have one, you buy the other. Pepsi and Coke. That's my example. We could go with something else. Hot dog and hot dog buns. The price of hot dogs has increased significantly because chickens are scarce. I'm just saying, I'm speaking hypothetically. Don't quote me on this. Chicken prices. Doubles and pie. I don't think that's a really strong substitute. Yeah. Because some people don't like the aloo, some people don't like the pie, it's hard, that kind of thing. So we're going with hot dog and buns, right, Miguel? So, Miguel, why would you buy a hot dog bun? Did you just go in the grocery and feel for a hot dog bun?
Yeah.
Really?
My mom. My mom when she buy hot dogs, but she doesn't buy hot dogs because sometimes we just have this boneless fish and she's fried and make something else.
Oh, okay. Well, I could understand that in that case, yeah. But I mean, in most cases, you will only buy the hot dog bun bread if you have
hot dog.
Hot dog. You get the point, right? So we're saying, guys, if the price of the hot dog itself, the sausage itself goes up, what effect will that have on the demand for the buns? The price of the hot dog sausage itself has gone up. What effect will that have on the demand for the bread? Hot dog bun.
The demand curve will go inwards.
It will shift inwards, right? And why would it shift inward? Because people they're not buying the sausage, so hence they would not demand the bread. Does that make sense, people? Any questions?
No, sir.
Good. So we're looking at.
So I have a question. So has nothing to do with the topic right now, right? You feel they're going on postpone CXC?
I'm not sure. We can talk about that break time. During the break, we'll chat about that. But as to give you a quick answer, I'm not sure. We have to wait and see how things go in. All right. We're moving on, guys. So complements now. Complementary goods. They go together. You can't have one without the other. Once you're demanding one, then automatically you have to demand the other. And I go with cars and gas, cars and tires, right? Hot dog and hot dog buns, they're complements. What else do we have here? And we have the phones with the apps, right? Once you're demanding a phone, there's certain apps. If you want it, you must demand the app as well. You have to pay for it. And we brought in the example of the Apple phone. Said if you want to listen to music, you have your iPhone, you must download on iTunes. You must pay before you're able to download, right? Any questions so far, people? Are we good? All right. Do you all want a break now? Or we start supply and then we take the break?
Yeah, break will be now.
All right, so I'm gonna give you guys a 15-minute break. We're gonna come back, right? It's now 20 past. We'll come back at 10:35, right, guys? 15 minutes break.
Sir.
I'm listening.
Right, about the coronavirus thing.
Mm-hmm.
My mom said that they might postpone it, possibly either to September or later.
Yeah, because I know some people write CXC in October, so we'll see. That's why I said we have to wait. Remember, this thing is we can't predict anything for sure. I don't want to be quoted as predicting something. I mean, I'm praying to God that we get a vaccine developed for this thing, because it's a very, very serious thing. People need to take this thing very, very serious. I'm hoping we get a vaccine for it soon and things improve. But as at the moment, we just need to follow whatever advice the government is giving to us. And if we have to postpone CXC to be safe, then by all means, yeah, I'm fully supporting that.
Because the thing is, in England, they canceled GCSE or whatever, right? Whatever. So and on the news that my mom was reading, they said that any subject that have to do with that is cancelled. So like biology and those things.
That's GC. But remember, CXC
yeah.
is local, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So they're not sure if they're going to cancel CXC.
Right. So supply. This is the amount producers are willing to sell at a given point in time and at a particular price. Supply and price have a direct relationship. Supply is the opposite of demand. Remember, the demand curve belongs to the consumer. The supply curve is the producer's curve, right? And they have a direct relationship. When prices are high, producers like that. They think they're gonna make more money. It spells out more profits for them. So they will want to supply more at higher prices. When prices are low, however, they would want to supply less because it signals to them less profitability, lower profitability. Okay. This means as the price of a good rises, the quantity supplied increases. When the price of a good is high, suppliers will be willing to supply more of a good with the intention of earning greater profits. All right. So we're going on again. When prices are low, suppliers will be willing to supply less because their profit will be smaller. In the graph, I'm going to show you a graph. So we're going to look at a little table first, a little chart first, and then we're going to plot a graph from that table. In a graph, the price of the commodity is shown on the vertical axis, y-axis, and the quantity supplied is shown on the horizontal axis, the x-axis, right? It is an upward sloping, it's an upward slope, which means the higher the price, the higher quantity will be supplied. And at the lower the price, the lesser will be the quantity supplied. Given below are two figures, 1 and 2. Figure 1 is an example of the supply schedule, and figure 2 is an example of the supply curve itself. So let's look at the supply schedule. And when you hear the term schedule, don't get confused and don't get flustered. Schedule simply means table. It's a table showing you the price of milk in this case and the quantity supplied at that price. So when the price is $10, the quantity supplied in milk is 10 liters. When the price is $20, the quantity supplied is 20. It doesn't be the same like that all the time. Eh? The price of something can be $5 and the quantity supplied can be 1,000,000. It can be 500, it can be 1,000. For simplicity reasons, I just put it like that. So from that table, we're able to plot this graph here. We have quantity supplied on the x-axis and we have price on the y-axis. You're seeing a price of 10, right? You go across until you touch your supply curve at point A. You come down, you will see the quantity supplied at a price of $10 is 10 liters of milk. We're seeing at a price of 20, we go across until we touch our supply curve at point B. We come straight down to the quantity axis and you will see the amount supplied at that price. When the price is 30, you do the same thing. You go across until you touch the supply curve at point C, and then you come straight down and you will see the quantity supplied, the quantity producers are willing to sell at a price of $30. All right. We're going on to page 6 now, guys. So please follow. The amount of commodity supplied changes with a rise or fall of the price, while other determinants of supply remain constant. So this change is shown in the graph is known as a movement along the supply curve. Remember we talked about upward and downward movement. So you're going to show the same thing in this supply curve here. In simple words, movement along a supply curve represents a variation in quantity supplied of the commodity with a change in its price and all other factors remaining constant or unchanged. In economics, they have a term called ceteris paribus, which means all things being equal. The only factor that is changing is price. So we want to see when the price rises, does it cause an extension in quantity supplied or does it cause a contraction in quantity supplied? We go on to the next paragraph. The movement in supply curve can be of two types, extension and contraction. And we met those two terms already. So we have a pretty fair idea of what we're talking about here. Extension in a supply curve is caused when there is an increase in the price or quantity supplied of the commodity, while a contraction is caused by or due to a decrease in the price, right? So a rise in price causes an extension in quantity supplied, and a decrease in price causes a contraction in quantity supplied. Everybody good so far? Guys? Key things to take away here. A rise in price, right, causes an extension in quantity supplied, and a fall in price will cause a contraction. Remember, we're talking about the supply curve now, so it's different. In the above figure, let us suppose that $20 is the original price of milk per liter. And at that price of $20, suppliers are willing to sell 20 liters of milk. Everybody seen that? Let's go back up. At a price of $20, suppliers are willing to sell 20 liters of milk. Let's confirm that in our supply schedule. The price of $20, they're willing to supply. Good. So that is true. when the price rises from $20 to $30, the amount of quantity supplied rises from 20 liters to 30 liters. So let's see that. Price goes up from $20 to $30. The quantity supplied will extend from 20 liters to 30 liters. Okay? There is a movement in the supply curve from point B to point C. This movement is known as an extension of the supply curve. Similarly, when the price falls from $20 to $10, the amount of quantity supplied falls from 20 liters to $10, to 10 liters, sorry. And there's another movement in the supply from point B to point E. So here's what I want you all to write down here for me. A rise in price. Everybody with me so far? You guys writing it down? Bala, you writing it, right?
Yes.
Good. A rise in price results in an upward movement along the supply curve. And
was that?
A rise in price results in an upward movement along the supply curve. And a fall in price
This is just, I just had it right here. What's wrong?
and a fall in price results in a downward movement along the supply curve. Right. So similarly, when the price falls from $20 to $10, the amount of quantity supplied falls from 20 liters to 10 liters. There's another movement of the supply curve from point B to point A. We said that. And this movement, this is what I want you all guys to pay attention to. This movement is known as a contraction, right, of quantity supplied. Shift in the supply curve. What will cause the curve to shift? The amount of commodity that producers or suppliers are willing to offer at a marketplace can change, even in cases when the factors other than price of the commodity change, such as non-price. Such non-price factors can be the cost of factors of production, the tax rate, the state of technology, and natural factors, right? So there are many factors that can influence supply other than price. That's what those are the things we're going to talk about now. So we're looking at factors that will influence supply other than price, right? So we're looking at when the quantity of the commodity supply changes. We're in this paragraph here, guys. Due to a change in non-price factors, the supply curve does not extend or contract. There's no extension or contraction, but shifts entirely. For instance, the introduction of improved technology in industries helps in reducing the cost of production, and that will result in we were able to produce more for the same price, for the same cost. We're able to produce more. As a result, the quantity of the commodity supplied increases, but the price of the commodity remains the same. So if you bring in new technology, you all know new machines, they work faster, they don't break down, they're new, right? It will give us the opportunity to increase our supply. The price of the product does not change. What we are doing is because we put in new technology and new equipment, it's helping us to produce more, all right? And here we have a diagram showing you shifts in the supply curve. shifts in the supply curve are simple, right? The original supply curve is SS. The notes will tell you that. I hope you're all seeing it here. It's in the middle. There's an inward shift from SS to S1, and there's an outward shift from S to S2. Okay? The rightward shift occurs in supply curve when the quantity supplied of the commodity increases at the same price due to favorable changes in non-price factors. Similarly, a leftward shift occurs when the quantity supplied of commodity decreases at the same price. So I want to examine the factors before we talk about and confuse you guys. Reasons for an outward shift of the supply curve. These are some factors that will cause the supply curve to shift outward. Improvement in technology, decrease in taxes, decrease in the cost of factor of production, favorable weather conditions, seller expectation or fall in price in future. So if you expect the price to fall in a couple months, you would want to sell the most that you can sell now. So you would supply more now to capitalize on the higher profitability. All right. So we're going back up to the information. We have to read it through. It's a bit bulky, I know, but we have to read it through. All right. The shift in the supply curve can be of two types, a rightward shift and a leftward shift. The rightward shift occurs in supply when the quantity supplied of the commodity increases at the same price. So we're able to supply more. The price of the product did not change, but for some reason, some favorable condition on our part, we're able to supply more. Good? So at the same price due to favorable changes in non-price factors of production of the commodity. Similarly, a leftward shift occurs when the quantity supplied of the commodity decreases at the same price. In the above figure, let us assume or suppose that SS is the original supply curve, where Q, amount of the commodity, has been supplied at the price of P. Due to favorable changes in non-price factors, the production of the commodity has increased. Now, we originally, on the supply curve on the diagram here, we originally at SS. Due to some favorable production non-price factors here, we're able to supply more. The result is at the same price of P, we are supplying more. How will we show that? We have to shift the entire supply curve from S to S2. That's what the note is telling us there. Okay? In the same way, due to unfavorable changes in non-price factors of the commodity, the production and supply have fallen to Q1, right? According to the supply curve has shifted inward. So let's say we're talking about seasonal factors affecting supply, and there was a flood. Say a farmer planted your crops, there was a huge storm, there's a flood, you lost nearly all your crops, that will affect your supply. Your supply curve is going to shift inwards in that case. It's going to shift from S to S1, or a leftward shift in supply. We're looking at reasons for a rightward shift of the supply curve. Improvement in technology. Now, if your technology improves, if you buy new equipment, are you not able to produce more, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to produce more, right? And you're able to produce more, you're keeping your factors of production cost the same, but you're producing more, you're able to supply more. Why? Because you have more newer equipment, newer methods of production. A decrease in taxes. Now, how will that cause you to supply more? Well, instead of having to pay the government more revenue via taxation, it's going to leave you, a decrease in taxes will leave you, the company, is going to leave the company with more money, which they can now use to buy more raw materials and produce more. Hence, the supply will increase. Okay? A decrease in the cost of the factor of production. So let's say you're making soft drink. And one of the key ingredients of soft drink, as you all know, is sugar. If the price of sugar goes up, it will affect your supply because you have to pay a higher price in order to supply more. But if the price of sugar goes down, it becomes cheaper. You're now getting more sugar, and you're able to produce more because you're getting more raw materials. That's the key word here. You're getting more raw materials when the cost of the factor of production goes down. Favorable weather conditions. If you're a farmer and for some reason the weather has been extremely kind to you, okay, then you get a bumper crop. A bumper crop means, yes, you expected to get a certain amount, but for some reason you get more. The trees bore more fruit than expected. Then that will increase your supply. Okay. Seller's expectation of a fall in price in the future. Now, if I'm a businessman and I expect that the price of this product that I'm selling is going to fall significantly in the future, right? Then I would want to capitalize now. I want to sell out all of my stocks now. So now, at present, I want to supply the market with as much as I can to ensure that I make the most amount of profits I can from this product. You all with me so far, guys?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Right. Fantastic. So we're going on now to reasons for a leftward shift or an inward shift in your supply curve. The use of old or outdated technology. Now, you all know what I mean by that. Outdated technology means it breaks down fast. It's old. The equipment is old. So every time your equipment breaks down, let's say you're running a machine, you're making a product, and your equipment breaks down 10 times for the day. Isn't that going to adversely affect your supply, guys?
Yes.
Yes, it would. It would. So it would, because every time that machine breaks down, you have to stop your production, fix it, test it, make sure it's running, sanitize it, and then put it back into the production line. That's taking away valuable time. That is going to reduce the amount that you can supply. So if your technology is old and outdated, it's going to reduce your supply. For some reason, the government says, okay, we're going to increase taxes. You now have to pay more tax. So that will leave you with less profitability. Less profitability means that you have less money to invest in the business, less money to buy raw materials, less revenue, right? You paid more tax, you end up with less revenue. Less revenue, you have less you're able to buy less raw materials. So you're buying less raw materials now. The spin-off effect is that you're going to supply less in the long run. Increase in the cost of a factor of production. If for some reason your factors of production goes up, like right now, I know the cost of lumber has been going up a lot. And the reason for that is that suppliers from Canada and so on are saying that, hey, we're running out of trees. And if we're running out of trees, then the product is going to become more expensive because our raw materials are scarce to get. They're harder to find, okay? And if they're scarce, they get harder to find, it's gonna cost us more. If it's costing us more, then we have to supply less. Unfavorable weather conditions. There's a storm. So you're a farmer, you planted a large amount of crops and there's a storm. Area got flooded. You cannot use those crops. You all know for purpose of health, you cannot sell crops that have been flooded because it's contaminated. So you would have been losing all of that. That's going to significantly reduce the amount that you have to supply. And again, seller's expectation of a rise in price in the future. If you expect that the price of the product is going to rise significantly next week, then you want to produce more now. So when the price rises, you can capitalize and supply more. You okay so far, guys?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I have some questions now. If I asked you in the exam to define the term supply, it's an open field here, anybody can answer, but one at a time, please. If I ask you to define the term supply, anybody, how would you define the term supply for me? Vikash, we didn't get back to me with an answer, so answer this one for me.
So can you repeat the question?
What's supply?
So I'll come back. I'm just gonna get my charger from my laptop.
No problem, no problem.
So can I answer it since it's on the board?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Supply, this is the amount producers are willing to sell at a given point in time at a particular price.
That's it. That is it. That is it. Simple, straightforward. It is the amount producers are willing to sell at a given point in time at a particular price. Right? We're good so far. Open questions again, guys. Talk to me. Tell me. Anybody can answer. The next question is, what is the relationship? What type of relationship does price and quantity supply have? What type of relationship does price and quantity supplied have?
So is it a direct relationship?
Yes, it is. Very good. Very good. Hannah, that was you?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Excellent. So they have a direct relationship, right? It means the price goes up, quantity supplied also goes up. Price goes down, quantity supplied also goes down. All right? Next question, guys, just to make sure we're following and we're paying attention. When the price rises, what effect does that have? What type of movement, to be exact, will that cause along your supply curve? When the price rises, what type of movement will that result in along your supply curve?
So it could go inwards.
No, movement.
Upward movement.
Upward or downward?
Upward movement.
There will be an upward movement. Excellent. Price rises, take note of that, people. It will result in an upward movement along the supply curve.
What?
Right? Kevin, you have a question?
Oh, I thought it was extension now.
Oh, no, it will be an extension in quantity supplied, Kevin. I was asking about the movement.
Okay.
Right. You're speeding. Is that you commented that shortly? But I like how you're thinking. I like how you're thinking. Nice. And vice versa, guys. What type of movement will a fall in price have on the supply curve? What type of movement will that result in? If the price of the commodity falls,
So downward.
exactly, it will result in a downward movement along the supply curve. And Kevin brought us to the next question. Thanks, Kevin. What will be the effect on quantity supplied? Not the supply curve, on quantity supplied we're talking about here now, right? Of a rise in price.
So the same thing Kevin said. Extension.
Ah, yes. A rise in price will cause an extension in quantity supplied. Good? And a fall in price will cause what, guys? In terms of quantity supplied, how will it affect quantity supplied? A fall in price. It will cause a
Contraction.
contraction. Well said. Excellent. And we know what is a supply schedule now. It's simply a table showing you price and quantity supplied at that price, right? So we looked at the supply curve. We said it's an upward sloping curve showing you at higher prices, producers are willing to supply more, right? We just summarizing supply before we go on and merge the two. We talked about movements along the supply curve, right? The movement can be of two types: an extension, which is caused by a rise in price, and a contraction, which is caused by a fall in price of supply, right? Set of X supply, not we. We talked about shifts in the supply curve, and we looked at various factors that can cause various non-price factors, I should say, that will cause the supply curve to shift outward. We looked at factors causing an outward shift, and we looked at factors that will cause an inward shift. Right. Improvement in technology. I want somebody to explain that for me. How will that cause your supply curve to shift outward? I'm listening. Improvement in technology. How will that cause the supply curve to shift rightward or outward? All right, here what? Since you all thinking, let's not waste too much time. We have how many points here that will cause the supply curve to shift outward? 5. And we have 5 points that will cause the supply curve to shift inward. And we have 20 participants on this chat at the moment. So I think we could get 5 people to volunteer for explaining why the curve will shift outward, and we can get 5 people to explain why the curve will shift inward. Agreed?
Agreed.
All right, good. So I'm giving you all 5 minutes to explain those factors, because I talked about it. I explained it when I was talking about it, right? 5 minutes.
Sir,
Yes.
for the for the curve to go inwards, right? That's when something would be like a certain product will be in demand.
But hold the answer
and it's
right
popular.
now.
So
No, we're talking about supply. Or you're talking about demand. Two different things, Miguel.
my bad.
So clear it up.
Sorry,
I will come back. I'm giving you all 5 minutes. Improvement in technology, decrease in tax, decrease in cost of factor production, favorable weather condition, sell expectations of a fall in price in the future. How will all these factors cause the supply curve to shift outward or rightward? When we come back, 5 minutes, we're giving people 5 minutes to come up with a response, and then we're going to start getting some volunteers to answer. Okay? So at 10 past 11. And you can ask questions as we're going along, people. If you want to clear up something in your mind, feel free to ask a question. You're thinking along a point and you want clarity on it, feel free to come on and chat while the others are coming up with their answers. All right, guys. So let's start. Bala, I'm giving you the first one. How will an improvement in technology or new technology cause the supply curve to shift outward?
Well, an increase in technology means that they can like produce more products and like do it better, so that can like have customers buy it more, which can increase.
Don't bring in the consumers here. Leave out the consumers. We're talking about producers only. And you're on the right point. You're on the right point. You're on the right track here with saying that new technology, new equipment won't break down as often, able to work longer, they're able to work faster, they're more efficient, which will cause the firm to increase supply. Yeah, there's less wastage. Good. Good answer. Thanks, Bala.
Merci.
All right. Decrease in taxes. Dominique. How will a decrease in taxes cause the supply curve to shift outward?
So, well, if they decrease taxes, and you will be able to buy more products.
Raw material. The producer will be able to. Yeah, you will be able to buy more raw materials, and we are saying that if you're able to buy more raw materials, then automatically, by extension, you will be able to supply more when you start producing. Yeah, excellent. Good, good. Decrease in the cost of a factor of production. So the cost of a factor of production has gone down. One of the factor production, probably the labor cost has gone down for you. In your factor production, it's become cheaper to hire workers. How will that affect your supply? How will that cause the supply curve to shift outwards? I'll give Ali a big clue there to answer this. Alicia, let me hear what you're thinking. Hawa.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. We're asking the question is Hawa.
For the bathroom, so can you repeat it?
Yeah. How will a decrease in the cost of a factor of production cause the supply curve to shift outwards?
A decrease in cost of factors. So repeat it one more time.
Right. How will a decrease in the cost of production, in the cost of the factor of production, cause your supply curve to shift outwards? How will that cause you to supply more? Put it in the light that
They wouldn't be
perspective of you
spending
being
as
a
much.
producer.
They wouldn't be spending as much to make the product.
Right. So you're paying less power for your raw materials. Yes?
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm paying less for my raw materials, couldn't I buy more raw materials?
Yeah.
Right. And that now will enable me, because I'm able to buy more raw materials, that will enable me to supply more. Yeah? Good. Good. Excellent. So we actually following. I love this. Thank you. Favorable weather conditions. Who's next? Favorable weather conditions. How will that cause our supply curve to shift outward? Kaleem went for a charger. Kaleem, you're back? Kaleem guessing, didn't come back. Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes. Talk to us, Kevin.
Favorable weather condition.
Yes.
If the weather is bad, it may hinder production.
The weather is good. The weather is good.
Well, if the weather is good,
right,
it will allow you to it will allow workers to come to work.
Right.
Like in agriculture.
Right.
Right. If there's heavy rain, it will hinder field work.
Right, that's what we said. So we took the better example. Look at it in terms of agriculture. Favorable weather conditions, you know, the right amount of rain, the right amount of sunshine, you know, will benefit farmers. Their yield from their garden will be a lot more than if they had heavy rainfall, landslides, flooding.
Floods.
Right? So favorable weather conditions will cause them to be able to supply more, right? Seller expectations of a fall in price in the future. I will explain this one for you guys. As a businessman, you open a business with the main intention of earning a profit. Let's be real. That's the bottom line there, right? The main intention is to make a profit. And if I'm selling a product and I expect, being years of experience in the business and so on, that the price of this product that I'm selling is going to fall, which is going to significantly affect my profitability, then at the moment, as of right now, I will want to supply and sell out all that I have. Understand? So because I'm expecting a fall in the future price, I'll say, okay, let's try to supply all that we can supply it now and sell it out. We don't want any stock in our hands when the price falls significantly, because our profit margin on that is going to be very, very small. All right. So those four people that volunteered just now, thank you. We're going to go on to the rest. Factors that will cause the supply curve to shift outward. Use of outdated technology. Mamadou.
Sorry, sir. My mic is broken. Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Sure. How will the use of outdated technology cause your supply curve to shift inward?
It causes it to shift inward is because the old technology will have. Okay, one second. Repeat the question one more time.
How will the use of outdated technology cause your supply curve to shift inward?
You'll fall back in sales compared to other competitors.
Why? Why would you fall back in sales?
Technology will be more advanced, so they'd be able to do more things. They'd be able to do.
In the technology you're using.
It's my answer.
It's unreliable.
Right, that's it. Because your technology is unreliable. It's going to fall. Because remember, your machines is going to break down. If something is old and outdated, chances are there's a high possibility it will break down. When it breaks down, your production stops. So that affects your supply, your ability to supply them. All right?
You know when they have it for a very long time, if it is okay.
Right. So, but we're saying here, Shaquille, that if your technology is old and outdated, remember when it breaks down, old and outdated equipment is hard to find parts for. So it's going to take a while before you fix it and start to supply again.
Upgrading it.
Right. So when it breaks down, it's going to reduce your ability to supply. Hence, your supply curve will shift inwards. Right? Increase in tax. How will an increase in tax cause your supply curve to shift inward? Musa. Saravana.
Sorry, I couldn't pick up what you're saying.
How will an increase in tax cause your supply curve to shift inward? Wait, was that Sarah? Shane, you with us?
Yes, sir.
Good. Give us a help out there, Shane. How will an increase in taxes cause your supply curve to shift inwards?
When the taxes increase, you will not be able to buy as much commodities as you would because
raw materials, right?
Raw materials.
Right. Good. I like what you're thinking. So remember, guys, when you have to pay more taxes, it affects your revenue, right? If it is affecting your revenue, then you have less money to buy raw materials. And the less raw materials you have spells out that you're going to be able to supply less. You can't produce more if you have less raw materials. You will produce less, right? Good. Increase in the cost of the factor production. Raw materials are getting harder to come by. How will that, well, I just explained that there. How will that cause the supply curve to shift inwards? Again, the cost has gone up. It's become more expensive. So where I could have spent $10 and gotten, I'm just saying here, 10 pieces of lumber with this to build my chairs and tables. Now, with the same $10, because raw materials have gone up, I'm only getting 5 pieces of lumber. Then that is going to affect the amount of tables and chairs I can make to resale. Okay? Unfavorable weather conditions. Saravana. No, I wasn't think Saravana didn't respond just now. Probably having some problems. Who's user? I'm seeing somebody labeled as user. Who's that? Shaquille. Unfavorable weather conditions. How will that cause your supply curve to shift inwards?
Well, because of the amount of flooding that happened around in TNT that make crops die out or maybe improper.
Right. And that will reduce supply, yeah?
Yes.
Excellent. Very good, Shaquille. And the last one is seller's expectation of a rise in price in the future. Now, what do we mean by that? Is this. If as a businessman, again, remember my main objective in business is to make profits. And I foresee in the future, in the not too far future, not too distant future, that the price of this item is going to go up. Then I'm going to stock up. I'm going to start producing more. I'm going to have it ready. And when the price goes up, I will supply a lot more to capitalize on the higher price, higher profitability. Okay? All right, we did pretty okay for supply. Not bad, guys. We're going on to equilibrium. And equilibrium is when, or the point where the demand and supply curve meet each other. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at how we arrive at equilibrium, how we find equilibrium price, how we find equilibrium quantity, and we're going to move on from there. All right, so we go in. Because the graphs for demand and supply curves both have price, remember they both have price on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal axis, we can now draw them on the same graph, right? The demand curve and supply curve for a particular good or service can appear on the same graph. Together, demand and supply curve determine the price and the quantity that will be bought and sold in the market. The figure below illustrates the interaction of demand and supply in the market for gasoline. I just came up with that idea, right? So the demand for curve is labeled D and the supply curve is labeled S. You're all seeing that here, right? Right. Table 3 contains the same information in tabular form for gasoline. The demand curve D, supply curve S intersect at equilibrium point E. So you're all seeing the supply curve here, labeled S. You all seeing it? And you're seeing the demand curve labeled D. Both of them are meeting at a point. We'll label that point where both of them intersect or cut each other E. And that is equilibrium. From equilibrium, you move to the vertical axis, which is your price axis, and you will find the equilibrium price. From point E, you move down, straight down to the quantity axis, and you will find the equilibrium quantity for that particular product. So in this case here, the equilibrium price is $1.40, and the equilibrium quantity is 600. Take this, write this down. You all ready?
Yes, sir.
Good. Equilibrium indicates that the amount consumers are willing to buy at a particular price equals the amount producers are willing to sell. At that same price. All right? Good. We're moving on again, guys. The equilibrium is the only price where quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. At a price above equilibrium, like $1.80, let's go back up to the graph. So at a price above equilibrium, $1.80, the quantity supplied exceeds the quantity demanded. This results in excess supply. Let's see what they're talking about here. So the equilibrium price is 140. The equilibrium quantity is 600. The price of 180. Let's follow that price, and you all should follow, right? On the equilibrium graph, the demand and supply. At a price of 180, we're seeing when you go across with that price line there, the first curve you're meeting is your demand curve. At a price at $1.80, consumers are only willing to buy 500. Everybody seen that? At a price of 180, the first curve you're meeting is your demand curve. It means consumers are only willing to buy 500. However, suppliers are willing to sell more. So we keep going with that 180 price line until we touch the supply curve. And you see here, they're willing to sell, it's not exactly 700, but it's around 680 or 690, right? They're willing to sell 680 units of this product at that price of 180. What that does is that it creates excess supply in the market. It means that we have too much goods on the market. Okay? So anytime the price goes up above equilibrium, it results in excess supply. Right? We're going back down now. At a price above equilibrium, like 180, quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded. So there is excess supply. At the price below equilibrium, such as $1.20, the quantity demanded exceeds quantity supplied. So there is excess demand. Let's see what they're talking about there. So the price below equilibrium, they're saying, is 120. Right. Below equilibrium at a price of 120, if you go across with that price line, the first curve that you're going to meet is your supply curve. It means, therefore, you come down, producers are only willing to sell roughly about 540 or 550 units of this product at a price of $1.20. However, at a price of $1.20, consumers are willing to buy just about 700 units of this product. So what you have there is excess demand or a shortage. It means the amount people want to buy is not equal to the amount producers are willing to sell, right? Producers are willing to supply a lot less. So that results in a shortage in the market. Right. So here we have the demand and supply schedule. I put them both together. So we have the price. At a price of $1, quantity demanded is 800, quantity supplied is 500. And you can see the equilibrium here is 140, quantity demanded is 600, quantity supplied is 600. Good? Remember this. When two lines in a diagram cross, this is just for you all to understand. I just put this in for you all to understand the graph, right? Because I know some people, if you're just looking at this notes on your own, you will be a bit confused. When two lines in a graph cross, the intersection usually means something. The point where the supply curve S and the demand curve D cross is designated at point, is labeled point E. This is called the equilibrium. The equilibrium price, let me just fix this here. The equilibrium price is the only price where the plans of the consumers and the plans of the producers agree. That is, where the amount of product consumers want to buy, quantity demanded, is equal to the amount producers want to sell, quantity supplied. This common quantity is called the equilibrium quantity. At any other price, other than the equilibrium price, guys, at any other price, the quantity demanded does not equal the quantity supplied. It will never be. So the market is not in equilibrium at that price. At figure 3, the equilibrium price is 140 per gallon of gasoline, and the quantity and the equilibrium quantity is 600. Well, it's the gallons, it's in millions of gallons, right? By 600 million gallons. If you had only the demand and supply schedules and not the graph, you could find the equilibrium by looking at the price level on the tables and where the quantity demanded and the quantity supplied are equal. So if we didn't draw the graph for you and you see where the two curves intersect and so on, just by looking at the table, the schedule, you will simply look for where the quantity demanded in terms of units is equal to the quantity supplied. And that will give you your equilibrium price. The word equilibrium means balance. If a market is at equilibrium, price and quantity, then there's no reason, it has no reason to move away from that point. Because if you supply more, there's going to be excess supply. If you drop the price, it's going to cause a shortage. So the perfect place you want to be is at the equilibrium point. However, if a market is not at equilibrium, then economic pressures arise to move the market toward equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Now, this one can be a bit technical to understand, but we'll go through it. Imagine, for example, the price of gasoline was above the equilibrium price, and instead of 140, it's 180 per gallon. We just looked at that on the graph. This above equilibrium price, once the price goes up above equilibrium, is illustrated by a dashed horizontal line at a price of 180. At the higher price, the quantity demanded falls, drops from 600 to 500. This decline in quantity reflects the consumers react to higher price by finding ways to use less gasoline. However, at this higher price of 180, the quantity of gasoline supplied rises from 600 to 680, as the higher price makes it more profitable for gasoline producers to expand their output. Now consider how quantity and demanded supplied related to this above equilibrium price. Quantity demanded has fallen to 500 gallons and quantity supplied has increased to 680 gallons, which means we have an excess in the market of roughly 180 gallons of gasoline, right? So you have too much on your hands. What are you going to do? If you have too much of a product on your hands and you want to get rid of it, the fastest way to get rid of it is to drop the price. Let's see if they're doing that. In fact, at any above equilibrium price, the quantity supplied exceeds quantity demand. We call this excess supply or a surplus. With a surplus, gasoline accumulates at gas stations, in tanker trucks, in pipelines, and at oil refineries. This accumulation puts pressure on gasoline sellers. You have too much to supply, you can't supply it. to excess supply, what you're going to do? If your surplus remains unsold, those firms involved in making and selling gasoline are not receiving enough cash to pay their workers and to cover their expenses. In this situation, some producers and sellers will want to cut prices. Why we want to cut prices? To get people to buy more. Because it is better to sell at a lower price than to not sell at all. And that's the key thing we have to remember. Once some sellers start cutting prices, then the others will follow to avoid losing sales, because the price of gas across any gas station is the same. And if one man selling cheaper than the others, then people will want to go to him and they will stop buying from the others. These price reductions, in turn, will stimulate a higher quantity demanded. When the price falls, people are going to start back buying more. So if the price is above equilibrium level, incentives built in the structure of demand and supply will create pressures for the price to fall back down to equilibrium. So what I'm not only telling you is any disequilibrium in a market is only temporary, right? If you end up with excess supply, firms cannot keep excess stock in their hands forever. It will go bad, it will spoil, it will expire. So to prevent that from happening, they will consider dropping their prices and reducing their prices. And they will keep dropping to a point until they find themselves back into equilibrium. Now, we looked at if the price goes above equilibrium. Let's see what will happen if the price falls below equilibrium. Now, suppose that the price is below the equilibrium level and it's $1.20 per gallon. As the dashed horizontal line at this price in figure 3 shows, well, that's the figure we just looked at. At this lower price, the quantity demanded, you all know consumers love low prices, increases from 600 to 700 as drivers take longer trips, spend more minutes warming up the car in the driveway in winter time, stop sharing rides to work, buy larger cars, get fewer miles on the gallon. However, the below equilibrium price reduces gasoline producers' incentives to produce. Remember, your profitability has fallen because the price has gone down. And the quantity supplied falls from 600 to 550. Now, we only sell in 550 on the market, but people are demanding 700. That gives us a shortage of roughly 150 gallons. When the price is below equilibrium, there's excess demand or a shortage. Now, we'll be following so far, guys. That is, at the given price, the quantity demanded, which has been stimulated by the lower price. Now, again, everybody wants it. We only have a little bit. What will producers do? Eventually, they're going to raise their price levels, and they will continue to raise back up to the equilibrium level. And note what I said. I said any disequilibrium, NC price is above equilibrium or below equilibrium, it will only stay that way for a short period of time. It won't last forever, right? The market will find a way of correcting itself unless the government intervenes. All right, guys. Where are we? I'm listening to you all. Are we good so far?
Yes, sir.
Good, fantastic. So I have here a little question that I put together. May, June 99, number 3. Past paper question. I know it's a bit old. And I want you all to answer that for me now. I know we're a bit pressed for time, but that's okay. We can go over. So the standard time is 20 minutes to answer a past paper question. I'm giving you all 15, and we can correct. So 15 minutes, guys. It's May, June 99, number 3. The question is up. Define the term demand and supply, 1 mark each. You all know what we're talking about. Identify 3 factors influencing demand. It's 5 simple questions. Come on, you all can get this done. 15 minutes. Right, guys? Let's start. And people, if you have a question, you're unsure about something, I'm here, so feel free to ask, right? Are we getting through, people? Any questions? Bala, you working on it?
Yes, sir. But don't call me first.
Nice. Miguel, you getting through? Reagan. Saravana, getting through? Musa, are you getting through?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Shane, getting through?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Shane, Rennie listening on by chance with you right there?
No, sir.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, guys. So I think we should be able to have something by now. Define the terms demand and supply. Who wants to take a shot at that one? So you're defining demand first, then you're going to define demand, supply right after.
So
Yeah, listening.
demand is the one backed by money,
Mm-hmm.
and supply. This is an amount producers are willing to sell at a given point in time.
At a particular price.
Yeah.
Right, good, good. Don't leave out that part. All right, yeah, that's a good answer. We could go with that. You can give me the extended definition for demand. It is the amount consumers are willing to buy or willing to pay for a commodity, right, at a particular point in time. Where on supply, as you rightfully said, is the amount producers are willing to sell at a particular point in time. All right, good, good. Identify 3 factors influencing demand. Now you just have to list them. And 3 factors influencing supply. So we're talking about the non-price factors here. 3 factors influencing demand and 3 factors influencing supply.
Wait. So that we just had to just write a list on it?
Yeah, what do the question say? Identify 3 factors influencing demand and 3 factors influencing supply. 6 marks, 3 marks each. And I told you in class, identify means to list out. If they tell you explain and expand and describe and so on, then you go on into lengthy discussions. Come on, guys, let me hand out. You know, to go and dig deep and so on. You know. 3 factors influencing demand. Let me hear you all. Income of the consumer. Tell me, you all seen it?
Quality of goods.
Quality of goods, yes. And one more.
Advertisements.
Advertising, yes. Taste, style, fashion, all those things, people. All right. Good. So we got 3. 3 factors influencing supply.
How about weather conditions, something like that?
Right. Weather conditions. What else? I'm circling an area here. Tell me. You all seen it?
How about technology?
All right. Improvement in technology, decrease in tax, decrease in the cost of a factor of production, weather conditions, seller expectations. All right, we're going down, guys. We're going back down to the question. Identify 3 factors that can cause the supply curve to shift outward, and 3 factors that cause the supply curve to shift So this one now we have to be careful. Going back up to the graph here now. So we have two supply curves. You have S1 and we have S2. The first part is identify three factors which can cause the supply curve to shift from S1 to S2. So from S1 to S2, that's an outward shift. What will cause the supply curve to shift to the right or outward? Okay? Improvement in technology or new technology. Favorable weather conditions. Right? We're looking for factors that will influence the supply curve to shift outwards. Improvement in technology. Decrease in taxes. Decrease in the cost of a factor of production. Favorable weather conditions. Sellers' expectation of a fall in price in the future. Right? Let's go back to another part of the question. There's another part of this question. And that is asking you for and three factors that can cause the supply curve to shift from, so you're starting from S2 and you're moving to S1. That's an inward shift or a leftward shift of your supply curve. All right? What will cause that leftward shift in your supply curve? The use of outdated technology, increase in taxes, increase in the cost of a factor of production, unfavorable weather conditions, and if seller expectation is that there's going to be a rise in price in the future. Next part of the question. Name and define the shaded areas above E1 and below E2. Let's see what they're talking about here. So this area here, above E1. Anybody knows the name of that area? Guys, come on. We talked about it.
Surplus.
Surplus. Excellent. That's a surplus. And a surplus, they ask you to define. A surplus simply means that quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded. That's all. So the area above E1 represents a surplus or excess supply. And what is that? It is simply when supply exceeds quantity supplied exceeds quantity demanded. That's all we have to say on that, right? What about the area below E2? You all know this. What is this area called?
Excess.
No. Below E2. Above E1 is excess supply or surplus. Below E2. Excess what? You said excess what? But excess what? You have to be specific, Kevin.
Excess in demand.
Excess demand or a shortage.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Very good. An excess demand occurs or a shortage occurs when quantity demanded is greater than or exceeds quantity supplied. Right? The last part of it. Identify two differences between E1 and E2. Okay. Let's see here. Well, at E1, there's an equilibrium. The equilibrium price is higher than E2. That's the first difference, right? Definitely the equilibrium price is higher. Than E2. And at E2, we are supplying more, right? At E2, producers are supplying more because the curve is shifting from S1 to S2. Okay? Out of 20 marks, guys, how do you all think you did? Be honest with yourself. Tell me.
So I did okay.
Horrible. Horrible?
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. But you saw your mistakes, right? That's the most
Yes,
important
sir.
thing. That's the most important thing. All right, guys.
Yeah.
This session was fun. It was good. I know we had a lot of work to cover. We have another topic I want to go in detail with, and then we'll start intensive past paper work, right? I know you all have concerns about CXC. Let's just wait and see what's happening. Let's not rush to conclusions and start panicking and so on, right? The government is doing the best that they can. And this is something that nobody is uncharted territory that nobody has ever dealt with. And we need to be careful. We need to be cautious. I advise that you guys continue to be safe, practice good health, you know, sanitize your hands, try not to go out in public, try not to socialize too much, you all know the social distancing rule, right? I know how are things that it's boring, but it's important at this time, okay? Be careful, guys, be careful. We want you all to be safe. And we're always here. You all know CTS is always open for you guys. You can always call in, ask questions. You all have me on WhatsApp. Anything you're revising, you're concerned about, feel free to shoot me a question. I will respond. If I'm busy, I will respond, but I'll respond at a later time. But always ask a question, all right? And continue to be safe. Continue to pray that this thing is over soon. All right, guys? So have a great day, and I will see you all. Well, we'll chat next week. All right?
Yes.
Bye, people.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Take care. Take care, sir.
Take care.